About 9 years ago, my friend Kathleen asked a bunch of women to go to her New Hampshire coquetry. And I couldn't go. I was on a buying trip or something, and I just couldn't go, and I was really sad I couldn't go. And for some reason, it's been nagging at me ever since. For 9 years, it's been nagging at me. And I had an opportunity to go in May to see the coquetry area and see some of the islands that were disappearing and see the estuaries and the marshes and things like that. And it was kind of like a life-changing experience for me. My mind was flooded with images, and I just have not been able to get them out of my mind ever since. And it's interesting in another way, because when Christy brought her paintings in, she told me she went on that trip with Kathleen 9 years ago, and that was inspiration for some of the paintings she did in this series. So it's sort of an odd connection, but I hadn't painted in 30 years. I got my Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, and then after that, I decided to take drawing and painting for 3 years because I didn't have to have any more electives. I could just do drawing and painting, and that was what I liked because I don't like the electives part. I just want to go straight into that. So, you know, I did that, and then I went on and did other things, but I never really pursued painting so much. I wandered into stained glass when I was up in Shreveport, and then we moved down here to go to school. I took a couple of years of drawing and painting again at LSU, but I entered the stained glass program for graduate school, and I've really kind of been doing stained glass the whole time and mosaics, although I do miniature paintings for the windows I do. But for a long time I've been wanting to exercise my arm rather than just this little picky work with my fingers and wrists, because I think my wrists and fingers were getting tired of just all that little technical cutting work and stuff. And so after I went to coquetry, I said, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. This is the time that I was maybe meant to start painting. And I had to remember how to paint because 30 years goes by and you kind of don't remember some of that stuff. And so for the first month, I guess for the month of June, I worked on this painting of a cockroach in a gym outfit. And I was in the Decadence show at the Glassell Gallery, and I had wanted to do a cockroach series. Well, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, I kind of slowly plodded through this painting to try to remember what I was even doing. And it took me like the whole month to kind of figure things out. And I did that painting, and I said, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and just do paintings of what I can't get out of my mind, can't get these images out of my mind. And so I first started out doing a bunch of little sketches, little small paintings, quick paintings. You know, I've made practice things on wood, and just lots and lots of little bitty paintings to see what I could even do, because I knew I wanted my work to be in my style rather than just exactly what I saw from a photorealistic standpoint. My style is kind of more stylized. I love Romanesque art, and so, you know, the elongated figures and things like that. But, oops. I just did a whole bunch of little small paintings to just kind of help me figure out things and remember how to pick up a paintbrush again. This is my pelican and angels, you know. So after that, I said, okay, and I'm going to start. I decided I wanted to paint big, so I didn't have this little thing going on again. So I forced myself to paint. This was the first painting I did, and it's called Whispers of the Marsh Grasses. And to me, there was a whole sense of history when I was down there, because this was from Isle St. John Charles. And it's an area that John Lafitte pirates roamed around centuries ago, or I don't know when they roamed around, but it was a long time ago. And and there were lots of walks like this, boarded walks, and just seeing the marsh grasses and viewing all that gave me a real sense of history, because you just wondered what all kinds of things the marsh grasses had seen over the years and what kind of events had happened there. And so that was my first painting. And I don't know, I started out weird. I said, I'm going to paint, this is the first layer of my painting. So I decided to paint the complementary color of what I wanted my end product to be as my first layer. And I slowly worked my way around the color wheel, and it was kind of a long, tedious process to do that. But I kind of wanted a little bit of that other color showing through if I could achieve it. So, you know, I didn't do this on every painting, but on some paintings when I wanted some depth of color, I started out with the color that I found the farthest away from my final color that I wanted. And then I kind of proceeded, you know, I really like Gisela Bernus, the sculptor, and I loved how he treated angels, and I also like Giotto, or Giotto, I'm not sure. When I speak with a southern accent, I call him Giotto, but I think real people call him Giotto, or something like that. I like his treatment of angels, and I like Gisela Bernus's treatment of angels because it's real linear, Gisela Bernus's is, and Giotto's is more emotive and stylized. But I knew I was sad because we went to some of the islands and they were literally disappearing into the Gulf of Mexico. And I you know, just pictured these angels carrying them up to heaven because, you know, what else is going to happen to them? So I knew I wanted to paint a painting about angels carrying islands up to heaven. It's called Bound for Glory. And this house was on stilts, and it used to be on an island called Last Island, and now it's in the Gulf of Mexico, and I don't know how much longer it is going to be there because, you know, things are kind of disappearing. And I purposely set some of my paintings at nighttime to symbolize the end of a day or an end of an era. And so I wanted this to kind of just be like, it's called Midnight Kiss. And you can interpret the title however you want. And the other one is called Oysters for the Angels. And again, my mind just does kind of crazy things, and I just thought, well, you know, some years when there's not a good oyster harvest, I bet those angels just took all those oysters and took them for themselves. And so, and then this piece is called No Eggs. And I went to an island that doesn't even have a name, and there were lots of pelicans there, but I think they're losing their habitat because the islands are disappearing into the Gulf of Mexico. And so, you know, it's just kind of self-explanatory in a way. And then this one here is called Last Dance, and we viewed a lot of trees that, because of saltwater intrusion, are just kind of kicking the bucket in a way, and they're mere skeletons of themselves. They don't have leaves, and I don't think they'll ever have leaves again, and it's probably just a matter of time. But to me, they kind of looked like they were dancing, lining the waterways. And then my pelican, my brown pelican painting, and for me, the word BP means brown pelican. And that's kind of how I look at it. But they were on that island, the one that I talked about earlier, Scott Walter's Island. And I watched them for about 2 hours, just kind of mesmerized, because I really love pelicans, and nobody will go look at pelicans because I won't leave. They won't go with me. I just like to sit there and stare at them. So anyway, but I watched them at sunrise, and everything had a red cast on it. So this one is called Red Sky at Morning, and it's that title on purpose because of the old thing, Red Sky at Morning, sailors take warning. Because, I mean, it's kind of sad that they're losing their habitats. Then the last two trees on the back wall were in cocodrie, and I went to a grocery store, And I just went back in the back and sat on a bench and looked across the water, and there were these trees, and I just loved their silhouettes. And again, they have no leaves on them or anything. They're just kind of the skeletons of what they used to be. But it was almost as if they were doing a dance or something. And the one on the left is called Requiem, and the one on the right is called One Night with You. I mean, I started with a chalk drawing on board for my first layer, and then and obviously I decided I had too many lines, so I took away some of the lines in that painting. I wanted more quiet space. I mean, they started evolving, but I photographed myself. I made myself take photographs when I wasn't too tired every time I finished a phase of my paintings. Because sometimes, there's this country song by Kenny Rogers from The Gambler called "You Gotta Know When to Hold Them and Know When to Fold Them and Know When to Walk Away." Yeah. Sometimes you can go too far on a painting, and so I wanted, if I didn't like the painting, I could refer to it when I liked it and maybe see where I went astray.
Are these oil?
Mm-hmm. Oil? They're acrylic. Because I didn't have enough time to let the oil dry, but I wanted to treat them. See, I was trained in oil painting, so I didn't know anything else, so I just painted them as if they were oils.
Well, they really,
I did thin layers, built up thin, tons and tons of thin layers, built up, and a lot of times I sanded between each layer. It was just a tedious process, because I like painting on a surface that's like butter, and it's real hard for me to, I don't know, yeah.
I definitely see your stained glass influence.
Well, I wanted to be true to myself because I can't change who I am, and I wanted to keep that part in it.